Hey everyone, my name is Sean O'Connell. I'm the managing editor here at CinemaBlend, and I have been doing analysis for Mandalorian Season 2 throughout the course of the entire run. And we have reached the finale, The Rescue. And listen, if you've made it this far into the video and you haven't yet seen the episode, bail. Because we're going to give away some major things that happened in the episode, and not only that, but just talk about the themes of the entire season, where I think the show could be going moving forward, some massive changes, and just a lot of great analysis and speculation. Well, I say great, but that's like patting myself on the back. So let's say moderate to decent analysis. And if you are enjoying the types of analysis that we usually provide here on CinemaBlend, while you are here, hit subscribe and turn on your notifications, and that way every time we post a new video on our YouTube channel, you guys will be the first ones to hear about it. So without further ado, I want to work backwards. I want to start basically at the end of the post-credits sequence. And if you hopefully have watched the episode and made it all the way through the credits, there was a big reveal. We had Boba Fett arriving at Jabba's palace and claiming his position on Jabba's throne. And the season ended with a tease that said, "The Book of Boba Fett coming in December 2021. And I find that to be really fascinating for this reason. When Disney had their investors call, I thought that they had said that season 3 of The Mandalorian was going to be coming around Christmas of December 2021, meaning that we would have a year to get through before they would deliver the next season of The Mandalorian. However, I don't know if we're going to get a next season of The Mandalorian. I kind of think that the baton has been passed, that the story of Mando is kind of done, and that there's a bunch of other characters that are in his universe that can continue on through the Book of Boba Fett, and not that the Mandalorian couldn't show up in some of the stories that are relevant in the Book of Boba Fett, but that I don't know if the focus of the show is going to be on the Mandalorian anymore. I think it's kind of shifting gears over to Boba Fett. And why are you able to do that now? And why is that a good idea? Well, I mean, first off, you're able to do it because Mando completed his mission. His mission was always to get Grogu in the hands of a Jedi, and he did, and we'll get to that in a minute, believe me. So his quest, which took over the course of the 2 seasons, like with all of the side jobs and all of the offshoot missions, they were all still moving the story forward to get Grogu in the hands of a Jedi so that he could properly train and a Jedi could pull the power out from whatever's residing inside of him. We got to catch up with Ahsoka, and Ahsoka drove him to the place where he was able to put Grogu on the Seeing Stone, and we learned that there are precious few Jedi out there, which that alone had to be an indication of, okay, so you know who's coming. But, you know, all of this stuff sort of was driven by the fact that Mando had to get the child to a Jedi, and he did. So I'm okay if that's it. Like, I'm okay if these serialized, multiple episode over the course of a season stories just do that. Tell a serialized story, bring it to a conclusion, hand it off to somebody else. Well, we know Ahsoka's going to get a spin-off show. You could very easily continue the story of Mandalore and the legacy of this race of people by going through Boba Fett for a couple of seasons, passing it to Bo-Katan for a couple of different seasons. And so if this is truly the end of the show, The Mandalorian, I'm okay with that. I want to hear from you guys and tell me whether you think that that's okay, or whether you want to see them sort of continue both stories congruently and have them cross paths every once in a while. Let's talk about the decision. Whew. So, people kind of speculated that Luke Skywalker was going to figure out some way to come back. And it's because of the timing of the story being set after Return of the Jedi, way before we see Luke in Force Awakens, at the very end of Force Awakens, and of course explore his story later through Last Jedi. And I thought they handled it perfectly. Director Peyton Reed, who helmed an episode earlier this season, did a phenomenal job. He did the reverse Rogue One. Like, we got that amazing Darth Vader hallway sequence in Rogue One, and we got the good guy version of it. We got to see a hooded Luke mowing his way through just what seemed to be an army of unstoppable foes. And I love that the episode gave us a standalone battle between Mandalorian and only one of the Dark Troopers, just to basically say, like, this is how hard it is to bring down one. So when the army of them show up, you're going to need a really powerful and resourceful hero who has the ability to take down all of them. And watching Luke mow through it had to be just I could hear the screams of Star Wars fans everywhere, finally seeing something that they had never dreamed that they would ever see again on screen. And so there's clever ways to get around it. You show him on TV monitors, and you show him from behind, and he's cloaked, and we eventually get to the point where, of course, the green lightsaber coming on was the tell, and then you get to the point where they reveal his face. And does the CGI look a little wonky? I mean, yeah, it does. Yeah, the de-aging looks a little, but not ever to the point where I'm gonna nitpick it and say like, oh, they shouldn't have done that, because when you take a swing like that, you get a little bit of a pass. Like, all right, cool, I know what you guys are doing. It doesn't have to be a full-on performance. I think the times when the CGI was the most sketch was when he was trying to talk. And it's hard to do. We're not there yet. There's still that uncanny valley of just, I know I'm looking at an effect. But for the point of the story, I'm okay with the effect. I thought it was really great that Luke came back. It had to be Luke, and now they are off on their own. But I'm okay if that's all of Luke that we get. Like, I don't want to see an announcement that there's another Disney Plus show coming called Luke and the Child, you know? I thought that was the right way to bring him in and remind us, you know, hey, he's out there, and now he's got a protege. But if you try to force the element and do CGI de-age Luke for an entire season of shows, it's not going to be as effective. I can't wait to hear Hamill talk about it. At some point today or this weekend, I'm sure Hamill's going to be able to weigh in on it, and I am dying to hear his reaction to seeing the younger version of himself. Now, I say I don't want to see a spin-off announced, but it does raise a lot of questions about what Luke and Grogu were doing over the course of all of this training. I kind of want to go back to The Last Jedi now and rewatch all of Luke's scenes to discuss what he says about the Jedi legacy and his ability to train. And, you know, there's still plenty of history to be explored, whether you get into Ben Solo and different places that can be explored over the course of the timeline. But it was fascinating to see Luke show up in this one, and I thought Peyton Reed handled it beautifully. We do get to the point where, again, the Mandalorian completed his mission. He passed the child off to a Jedi, and the symbolic act of removing his helmet was such a beautiful moment for so many different reasons, but there's one in particular that I want to get into, which was the conversation that happened right before Luke showed up, and we had Bo-Katan wanting to get her hands on the Darksaber. And it wasn't nearly as simple as just Mando saying, like, here, take it. Like, I don't want it. And you get Moff Gideon, who played by the brilliant Giancarlo Esposito. Like, in this episode, we got to fully capitalize on why the show hired Giancarlo Esposito. Yes, it was cool to see the Darksaber in action, and it was really cool to see Mando hold him off with the spear that he earned earlier in the season. All these little payoffs over the course of the season coming to fruition in the finale was amazing. But when we get to the point where Mando tries to hand the Darksaber over to Bo-Katan, and Moff Gideon's like, no, that's not how it works. Like, she has to earn it back from you in battle. Like, this is the lore of the Darksaber. You can't just break through the lore. It has to happen this way. And I found that to be really interesting because her belief in the story of the Darksaber parallels really closely to the Star Wars fandom's belief in the Star Wars legacy. Like, for her, the story and the legacy of the Darksaber is her canon. Like, that's canon, and she can't go against it. And Mandalorian, especially over the course of season 2, is very much saying, no, you can go against it when it's okay. And there have been a couple of instances now where he has rejected his philosophies and his teachings when the moment needed him to do it. And him removing his helmet to show his face to this child who he's emotionally bonded with was, in a way, also saying, yes, all these things that you once believed in as a fandom, as a passionate fan base, it's not all scripture. You can change, you can adapt, and you can grow to reach a point where you have to accept the new. And so Mandalorian removing his helmet was beautiful because it showed the bond that he had with Grogu, but it was a bigger message. It was a bigger message to Bo-Katan saying, what you believed doesn't have to be the case anymore. Not to reach even further, but it's in a way, you're stepping back and you're kind of saying, like, we always said like Star Wars needed to be movies, and if it was television, it was animated. And it's not the case anymore. Like, Star Wars' place where it's truly thriving is in these live-action, multi-episode serial storytellings. It's a little bit closer to what George Lucas envisioned the entire time. And we are unleashing, as an industry, creators who are immersed in the Star Wars lore. And they're changing it, and they're altering it, and they're getting in the mud and mixing around and coming out with new and exciting things. And it's wondrous to see. And personally, I'm here for all of it. And I cannot wait at the end of this season. Like, there have been so many times over the course of season 2 where we have stepped back, or I've personally stepped back and said, like, how on earth is this show even possible? How are we at a point where we're able to see all the things that, like, there's a live action Ahsoka Tano who is battling alongside the Mandalorian. We've got Baby Yoda mixing it up, and here we get the Darksaber and a live action Bo-Katan, and it's insane. And we've seen Luke Skywalker camp. I mean, everything is possible at this stage, and so it's time to loosen our grip as a fan base, I think, on the Star Wars canon, and let people evolve it. Sometimes you might get the push and pull that came with The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, and how they didn't play together. But when given the time to breathe and explore, I think you can find that the canon is very malleable, and that we can take Star Wars in a lot of different directions. And if we end up getting 2 seasons of television like we did with Mandalorian season 1 and 2, and hopefully teasing into the book of Boba Fett, then it's a win for the entire fan base. It's a win. So that's my big analysis on all of this, and I'm stunned to see what it has accomplished, and I'm thrilled to see where it's going. Star Wars seems to be in extremely good hands. So because there is so much still happening in the world of Star Wars, you have to make sure that you keep it here on CinemaBlend, because we're going to be breaking down all of those angles. If you want to catch up with all of my analysis from the entirety of season 2, make sure that you check our playlist here on the YouTube channel. Hit subscribe and turn on new notifications. And I want to hear from every single one of you guys in the comments down below too. Let me know what you thought about the finale, where you think everything is going, and let me know what you think about the thoughts that I've sort of thrown out here. Thank you so much for following along for the entirety of season 2. I had a really great time doing this, and it was fun sharing all of the big reveals that happened in the show with you guys. So hopefully we'll get to keep doing it either for Mandalorian season 3 or the Book of Boba Fett, or any of these shows that continue to roll out, because Star Wars is happy and healthy, and the fan base is thriving, and we'll be here for all of it. So we'll see you soon.